Hello, and welcome to the Guarneri podcast. This is episode number 6. Well, guess what? I am going to put off discussing some of the occult organizations for yet another day, because instead I would like to address a comment that was made to me, which I think could use a little context in explaining. So, to paraphrase, what the comment was, um, basically is, why am I looking at old stuff for answers? We have such new science and technology, and everything now supposedly is the best it, ever was. Why would I be looking back at past ways? And it's a good question until you think it through and you realize it makes total sense to look way back to the past. First of all, why not? There's no solutions in the current time period right now to give that extra push to get over anxiety and depression. Why not look in the past? You know, People just assume that if something is old, it has to be antiquated and, you know, has been replaced by something now that is better. Um, why look to the past when we have modern ideas and modern science? We are so much smarter now than those before us. Well, that's entirely not true. It's a very egotistical way of thinking. To assume that now is the best and that we know best, where do we get off with that? Now, it's true we have the benefits of modern science and technology right now, but it's only modern for now. It won't be 100 years from now. But who's to say ideas from the past are no longer valid and need to be suppressed because modern science is unable to prove them true? For example, it's been in the occult and in the druidry type communities for quite a while that the trees can communicate with each other. But modern science says no, we can't prove that. So it's false. What happened? Not too many years ago, I forget exactly when, scientists did prove the trees are communicating with each other underground using mushrooms. And I don't remember the exact science of it, how it worked, but it has been proven that trees communicate underground. So who are we to, say that some ideas in the past are wrong or no good just because, we can't prove them true now through our modern science? Similarly, do we want people 100 years from now poo-pooing our contributions to the human race and society and trying to suppress it, saying, it's nonsense? Of course not. So why are we doing it to our ancestors, to our past? And honestly, a lot of people now don't realize they don't realize that much of the ancient is still in our everyday lives. I'll give you a few examples. The list goes on and on, but I'll just give you a few examples. Plato, Platoism, his ideas about many things, including government and philosophy. We still talk about them now. We still use aspects of it now. And you know what? He was a pagan. He's not modern. Let's look at another one. Hippocrates, Hippocratic Oath. You know, if that's so old and antiquated, why is there Hippocratic Oath to do no harm? Hippocrates, pagan. And sticking with those guys, the Greek guys, Socrates. We use a scientific Socrates. We use the Socratic method of teaching from time to time, depending upon where in the school or whatever. I find it to be highly effective. Socrates, a pagan. There's so many Christian holidays and just holidays in general that have been adopted from the pagans. Yes, true. A lot of times that was done to make the Christian religion, the Catholics, to make their religion more palatable to the pagans. but they also took the things that they thought were good. Um, Halloween, that's Samhain, an ancient pagan festival, rituals, the start of their new year. The veil between the other world and our world is the thinnest. A lot of things going on there. Well, now we have Halloween and All Saints Day. That came from the pagans from long ago. Um, Same thing, St. Bridget's Day, February 1st, Imbolc. That was a pagan holiday. And it goes on and on. Christmas, supposedly the birth of Christ. Well, Christ was actually born in the spring. This has been proven. But the church conveniently moved it to December 25th so it can be around the same time as Yule. Yule was a Yule time. Yule was a specific day as well as a time period. And December 21st is the winter solstice, which is very important among pagans. If you want to go out east, yoga. Yoga is not something new from the 20th century. It's been around forever in various parts of Asia. It's nothing new. The same thing with meditation. We didn't come up with that in the last 50 years or whatever. It long, long predates anything that we can think of. So the point is, you can absolutely find value in the past. Maybe it's harder to find now because so much has been suppressed, so much has been hidden or had to go into hiding because of fear or retribution from the church or from whatever else. Doesn't mean that information and those things aren't still out there. You go back to before Christ, go back to before, over 2,000 years ago, and people were much closer to nature, much closer to each other, much more in tuned. And that has disappeared over time. And I personally think that is a big cause of mental health issues. Um, I want to get back closer to nature, even though I'm allergic to everything I can think of. But I want to be in tune. I want that higher spiritual level. I think that's going to bring peace of mind and just melt away the anxiety and the depression that I have remaining after my medications and my talk therapy. And even with that, my therapist is great and the talk therapy rescued me. But I'm finding even now, talking to a psychoanalyst who's into the occult and the pagan to be more helpful than my regular therapist. And I'm not seeing this person as a second therapist. I just happen to run across her in various classes and whatever else. But you have to be open minded and give things a chance, and not just assume anything from the past is bad. Hell, you know, the foundational documents of the United States, they're not ancient, but they're well in the past, and we still go by them. So not everything that's old is bad. Yes, some things are, but not everything is, and it's definitely worth going to explore, find, and test and see what happens. So I just wanted to address that point of like why I'm going back to old times, to ancient times, pagan times, occult times. Even though the occultism, the big renaissance of it was in the late 1800s and early 1900s, what they were studying, what they were learning and developing was ancient, from ancient times. The Kabbalah, you know, long predates the Abrahamic religions. So anyway, I just wanted to make that point and explain why I'm going back in time and not trying to find something, the next new thing in the future that would help anxiety and depression. I'm looking backwards, and that's the reason why. So I will see you tomorrow, and until then, stay well.